If we're having a look then into our long-term survival, at some point you might want to think about getting food. So we move into our 4 weeks without food. We can survive 4 weeks to 40 days without food. Now really, unless you have the skills to go out and hunt, you're probably better off just sitting around your campsite conserving energy rather than constantly walking around burning up calories trying to look for food and wasting all that valuable energy. But if you do have some hunting skills, it's quite possible, certainly here in the Rockies, that we can go out, we can shoot ground squirrels, we can shoot tree squirrels, and we have grouse running around the bush here. Sometimes they're a little easier to get than other game, and we can make ourselves a simple bow.
What I've got here is a stave, and essentially it's a log that we've split in half, and it's followed its natural grain lines. And what we're going to do right now is just take off some of the bark and try to preserve this green wood, because that'll be the flexible part of your bow. So this will be the working part, and this will be the back of your bow. So I'm just going to trim that down. So now you've got a good stave here. You'll be taking away a lot of the wood from the sides and the belly of the bow, making a good workable limb. So this is obviously going to take a long time to get it down to the shape you're looking for, but once you do, it'll be well worth it. All right, that's a lot of work and a lot of carving, but with that, you'll have something like this. Nice little survival bowl. No string, no worries. You can make one out of dental floss, something you're probably carrying around anyhow. That's gonna be a good bow.
Traditionally in this area, they're only to about this height here. And I think looking at this particular tree, I saw some flaws in it earlier on, I think we'll probably take it to about this height here. And certainly a little bigger than a traditional bow would have been for this area, but we're using quite an inferior wood here. It's not the best wood to make bows from. And this really is just a quick survival bow. So what I will do, try and find the natural bend here. I'm going to choose the center part of the bow. I want an equal bend here. So I need to tiller this correctly in that I need to get both the top and the bottom of the bow bending in a uniform manner, kind of equally there. So here it's bending nicely at the top, not bending so much at the bottom, so I can actually take off a little piece here on the inside and just shave some sections of the tree there away, and then I can think about putting a string on.
Next thing you gotta do is the tillering of the bow. Now, this is a little more difficult, and what we set up is a pretty simple apparatus. We found 2 broken knots here and just rested our bow right in there, and then tied a straight string across and a cord coming down here. Well, if we follow that cord down, we come down to the base of the tree, well, where I've attached a nail into the bottom to hold this cord to keep it from coming up, and then a little beaniker here, and then loop the rope through. Well, together, you can do this. It's a great way to see where your bow is going and what parts you have to work on. Pretty neat, huh?
Here I've got the bow, a bit of a bend to it there, I've tillered it. And this is more of a Japanese style bow, so I have a greater length on the top here and a shorter section but wider on the bottom. But hopefully I'm getting a fairly equal tiller, fairly equal bend between the top and the bottom. I need the string now.
I have your string, but let's talk arrows.
Arrows, okay, so here I've managed to find some willow. I need a section which is about arm length. For me, that's going to be about my draw. Probably not as much as that, but if I account for 1 arm length, that would be really good. I'm going to clean off the branches, strip off the bark, put a primitive knock in the top there, and just good enough to wrap your fingers around and pull back on the string. Nice. Or I could put a point on, or I could insert a bone tip, or I could insert a stone tip.
So, like I promised, I'm gonna make you a bowstring out of dental floss. It's strong and waxed, so good bowstring. I'm just wrapping these ends to make the thing stronger. I just tied this end to the top there for an anchoring point. So I'll go around about 8 to 10 times. So I'll take my knife and just sever this side. Make myself a little noose, and I'll just give it a twist down the length. This is just a slip knot. Nice and tight. Give it a little bend. And there you have it, a little bowstring. Let's go check out how Dave's doing with his survival bow. All right, looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad. I've just roughed up a few feathers here at the back here, literally feathers from the wood itself. Nothing too much. That will help keep the arrow in flight, traveling straight. I've got the thicker end down the front end, so when it strikes the creature, it will cause maximum trauma. The arrow's still a little bit moist, and so it's still a little bit heavy, but it's still not bad actually. And certainly, if I can get up close enough to a squirrel, I should be able to do some damage.
All right, let's give this bow a try. It has quite a draw.
Nice. Wow, that wrapped against the tree quite nicely, so that would have inflicted some deadly trauma onto a squirrel.
Oh, I can taste the forest chicken now.
Okay, so what I've put up in the forest here is a small snare trap, just to give you an example of how we can put a snare trap up for squirrels. Here I've got a roadway going through the trees from one tree to another, and at the end here I have another roadway going down. On the actual roadway in the trees, I have a snare, 3 fingers diameter, 3 fingers high, roughly, with a little piece in the front here that would hopefully make the squirrel lift its head up and in there. And of course, I'd have a whole series of these down the length of this wood here with that kind of chin lift piece facing in opposite directions on the snares. Simple.
Why the roadways?
Squirrels are actually quite lazy creatures, and so I like to put the roadways up here to encourage them to take the easiest route possible, which is what they're after, taking that easy route. Nice.